Great. Well, thanks so much, Tony and Peter, for the kind introductions. I have to say that Peter and I were the lucky ones that got to make the trek down here from Seattle. And so I was specifically asked by Michael Sayer and Mickey Eisenberg and Tom Ray to send their regards. So they'll be watching and listening from afar. They've asked me to send them updates as we go, so I'll do that. So what I'd like to do first before I move towards the system assessment is just to give you a background for those who don't really know what the RA is all about, or maybe you've heard just a little bit about it. I think it's important to understand where we've come from and what we're all doing here, sitting together in Auckland. So as Peter mentioned, this is where Washington State is. Canada are our good neighbors just to the north, up in the northwest, cold, rainy corner of the US, and we started this activity back in 2008. But before that time, for years, people have come to Harborview Medical Center. This is the emergency department ramp at Harborview Medical Center to try and learn from these two individuals and a few of the other key leaders in Seattle what makes cardiac arrest survival so strong in King County. So this is Dr. Michael Kopis on the right and Dr. Mickey Eisenberg on the left. And so for years and years, people would come and they would say, we want to know everything. Tell us everything there is to know about your system. We want to know about how you train your paramedics. We want to know about how you train bystanders. What protocols do your telecommunicators or dispatchers use? And how do your crews operationalize all of this on scene? And that's fine, and for years, that's what we did. We gave out this information to anyone. We're a very public health grounded organization. So if you came and asked, we gave you everything but the kitchen sink, or including the kitchen sink rather, if you came to Seattle. But what we came to realize is that more than that, you needed to understand kind of all the background behind the scenes things that make this system work. So these are a group of our political leaders. You needed to know about how medical direction works, how providers are given feedback. Many of you probably recognize Dr. Sayer there giving a stern feedback session to one of our medics. And how buy-in is achieved. Look at the guys with their arms crossed. That was not staged, ladies and gentlemen. And we all know what that situation looks like, right? So really, you give me new guidelines every 2 years, or every 5 years, as the case may be. Tell me why this one is better than the one I learned when I was a recruit. Those types of things were the things that we started to feel like were very important to relay, just as much as it was to relay protocols. And we developed this very healthy kind of mantra of you've seen one EMS system, you've seen one EMS system. So as Tony indicated, what you might be doing really well in Ambulance Victoria, you might be struggling with St. John's, and vice versa. And that's what the Resuscitation Academy is all about. It's helping one another solve problems together. So to that end, Mickey decided to write a book. So Mickey's a wonderful writer, and he came up with really the 40 years worth of academic research that he was a part of, and that has been, is very much milling around in his mind at all times. This is actually his desk, unstaged photo, another unstaged photo. And he came up with the 10 steps, or the 10 programs, that kind of take the academic knowledge off of the shelves, bring them down onto a work table, and really describe the work that it takes to implement best practices in this area. So that's where these 10 steps came from. And then we rolled them into our program of the Resuscitation Academy events, where we share materials, we actively encourage everyone to undertake a project when they go back to their home community, that we offer to one another to be mentors, right? There are many times when we in Seattle and King County do not know the answers, and but many times we reach on out to our colleagues who are now halfway around the world, who have experience that they can share and mentor. And then we are very committed to growing this alumni network, because truly that's how we will leverage and seed leadership moving forward. So I'm going to step you through a few of the mantras that we have with the RA. So as Tony mentioned, measure and improve. That's the first one that Mickey came up with, and that's at the very core. There's not anything that is worth doing if you're not going to measure it and commit to improving it. So data collection is at the bedrock of all we do. It is performance, not protocol. We don't spend time talking about specific protocols and how they may differ among agencies, or we might, but the important thing is that you commit to the protocol that your medical director sets forward and you execute it to its highest level. Performance, not protocol. Everyone survives. The expectation that across your agency that everyone survives, and this really speaks to that quality improvement process, where if you're a medical director, or a chief, you are collecting all the information from a cardiac arrest, you're sitting down at your desk with a nice, thick, strong cup of coffee or tea, and you're reviewing everything that happened, and you're asking yourself, if that person did not survive, why? Right? Or if you're a crew that has gone out on a call and you come back and you do what we call a hot wash. Does that translate? Hot wash? Where you come back and you sit down and you immediately go back to the kitchen table and, okay, what went wrong? I liked what you did there. I could have done a better job here, right? Why didn't this person survive? And that applies to all the programs across the chain of survival. All of these things are not complicated, but they're not easy. They require people to wake up every morning and commit to the cause of seeing these programs through. It's not glamorous work, but it's hard work. And then this is Tom Ray's personal favorite, that change occurs iteratively, step by step. So if your agency is at a 20% Lutstein survival rate, it's not going to make it to 60 overnight. Freddie will share the Danish experience tomorrow, later in the day, but it's an incremental rise if we commit to this excellence, if you commit as an agency that everyone should survive. So what's happened since we started in 2008? A lot has happened. I'm so proud of all of our partners. 137 courses, 1,700 alumni in 650 agencies. And this isn't all Seattle, of course. This is when you come to the RA, who's all come to an RA? I think several of you, right? You know that when you come to an RA, one of the first things I challenge you to do is to go take this program home and to spread it in your own community. And that's happened at a fantastic rate. So that's very exciting for me to see and to know. We have a website that's growing and changing. Since the very beginning, as I said, we give so much of our materials away for people to use and to make their own. So we have a lot of solutions and ideas that are on the Resuscitation Academy website now, but it's growing. And this is the exciting part of my job right now. We are growing to really launch 3 programs to extend that reach and extend the impact that we can make doing this work together. So there are 2 programs that are similar and then one that's a little different. 2 of them around TCPR and one around HPCPR that employ the concept of low-dose, high-frequency learning. So every month or quarter, you sit down at your comm center or in your station and you go through an online learning that's brief, bite-size, maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then you step through a simulation that reinforces that training and you're given feedback on how that simulation evolution went. So Julie and David will talk more about that and you'll get to see that. But the third program is the system assessment tool, so I'm going to slide into that. Tony mentioned homework. If anyone was shocked to learn that they might have homework tonight after happy hour, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what that is. So that's our system assessment tool. It lives on our website. You'll be given the link later today. And that's a series of about 30 questions that you'll step through about how your system performs across the chain of survival. And I encourage, on the break, I'll be giving out some copies of the questions, one to each agency, and just to give you an idea of the types of things we're looking for. And there are things like response times. Do you give feedback to your telecommunicators? Is law enforcement dispatched in cases of cardiac arrest? Just very, I think probably for this group, answerable questions. You shouldn't have to make too many late night phone calls, and guessing is okay. Just get it right in the ballpark, and maybe even guess a little low if you're not sure, because that way you'll have room to improve. So that's coming for the homework piece this afternoon. And then finally, just to kind of wrap up, I love this slide. It shows that we're on this journey with a lot of partners. Laerdal and the American Heart Association have given us a great deal of support in creating these programs, and we're thankful for that. And then we're just, this is a team event, right? This is how I like to think of RAs. It's a team sport. It's a team event. And together we've formed the basis for the Global Resuscitation Alliance. So if you look very carefully, you will see some friends and familiar faces that are helping to lead this effort throughout the world. So the Global Resuscitation Alliance is rolling up to the World Health Organization's goal to save 50,000 additional lives per year from cardiac arrest by 2020. I'm going to stop there to ensure that we're off on the right foot and we're off on time. And I'll be around all week. If anyone has any questions, please do flag me down. So I think Dr. Kudenchuk is up next.